Hello, everyone. So, I wanted to just say a quick few words about the most common manipulation tactics that you can find online, but in the media generally. And so, maybe outline a little bit what you should watch out for. So, I think we can all agree on that someone who mostly speaks the truth, but will, you know, just sprinkle in a lie or two, sometimes is the most common or most effective type of liar. Maybe not the most common, but the most effective one. Why is it effective? Well, I think it's obvious. We all why. I don't really need to bother, explaining that. So, yeah, that's it. It's really the most effective type of liar. But there's the other type of liar that is, or source of lies or manipulation that the establishment uses, and is also quite effective. But I don't think it's as widely used, but also effective and serves its own purpose. And that's the direct opposite. So that's the one that always lies, but sometimes will actually say the truth, in between the lies. It's just mostly the clown that always exaggerates stuff and just is saying outlandish things all the time, but will sometimes sprinkle in truth, so it will be wrapped up with all the bullshit essentially that he's saying. Now the question might be, why would these two exist at the same time? Why would the system implement both of these sort of manipulation tactics when we know that the truth sayer that just sprinkles in lies here and there is the more effective one or most effective one? Well, it's quite simple, and that's because they both serve a slightly different purpose. The one, the former, that speaks mostly the truth, but will sprinkle in a lie or two here and there, can take a lie, and because of the origin of the source that says the truth most of the time, the source can actually make a truth out of the lie that he will say. Just because you trust him, he will betray you in this sort of way, and you will trust him on his word because, well, mostly he tells the truth. So that's why that's what they're best at. That's what they can do. They can essentially take some kind of made up bullshit and just because of who they are and their track record, let's say, they can make it sound like it's the truth. Now, the other type of source that you will commonly find in the media is has another very, very different role, and he essentially can take something that's true. Mostly it's some kind of a truth that's not really suitable, or not suitable for people to know, or the establishment is not really, let's say, comfortable with this truth being widely known by people. And so this type of source can take the truth and transform it into something that you will just disregard because of who it's coming from. So it's also really effective, and they're both used for these two different purposes. So they can essentially change how you perceive the information that's given to you. It's very, very important to be able to distinguish between them, and to really know the game, know what's going on and how you are being manipulated essentially all the time these days. Now, here's an important thing. How can you defend against both of these tactics or sources? And you can defend quite easily. And there is one one thing that you can do that will apply, that will be relevant as a defense mechanism against both of these. And the thing is, or two things rather, you can do. And the thing is, do not listen to them at all. Or fact check everything they say. And really research. And I'm not telling you to write it into Google or ChatGPT and then just clicking on the first link / taking the first thing that ChatGPT tells you as an undisputable truth. But what I really mean is deeply research it. So there might be some kind of statement done by these liars or establishment mouthpieces, and it might very well be that you will need to spend an hour really digging through and even more. But for sort of an innocent sounding statement, you might need to spend an hour really researching it to understand it, in order to understand it. So it's really, really important to research everything that they say. And so that way you can then identify whether or not they're speaking the truth and only the truth, or they're talking bullshit most of the time, or if they're the most effective kind of liar, speaking the truth but planting the seeds of lie in between. So that way you can really distinguish between these. Never just take what someone will tell you and just assume that just because they're telling the truth most of the time, that must be also the truth. Never do that. Because then you're an easy prey. So either always research, or just don't listen to him at all. Those are your two options. Just don't do something in between. That you're just sort of a passive listener because this guy is okay, but you don't actually really research anything. You should do your own research and really spend time doing it, and avoid official sources as much as possible, because they're all compromised. And when you really dig deep into it and you start researching stuff about, for example, about Second World War, you'll find out that under strict scrutiny, the official narrative just makes no sense at all. Absolutely no sense at all. And it will just fall apart. The same way with banking systems, with the 2008 financial crash, with how the Fed works. Once you start really looking into it, all of these official explanations will just fall apart. They'll just disintegrate. So again, either you will notice what whatever the source is, what they're saying, and you will really be careful about whether or not they're trying to spread propaganda disguise this truth, and you will research it, or you won't listen to these people, media, whoever that is at all. Just two options. Don't listen to someone who is bullshitting. And if you think that someone is telling the truth, just to be sure, check it yourself. Because the good thing is that after you will do this kind of, deep dive into everything someone says, and you will really just put your mind to it that you want to know, and you will really just dig in to find the truth. After you do it enough times, you'll be eventually so knowledgeable that you will be able to tell right away if someone is speaking the truth or not. Of course, that doesn't mean that there will never be a new information for you to uncover. But I'm just saying that most of the time you will be able to just listen, and you will be able to single out and see when someone is trying to disguise propaganda as some kind of a truth. You will be able to identify that immediately. You will by researching and not using official establishment approved sources to do that, you will level up your pattern recognition, and you will be able to just sort of almost automatically distinguish between lie and a fiction. But you will need to really spend time into developing your pattern recognition. So you will just, it will take some time. But what I've said, this like sort of a tactic, it just works every time, and yeah, it's quite easy, albeit time consuming, to implement it. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is AI. Now, I think that AI is evil, because it's created so intelligent people could be replaced in their own countries, and can be then replaced by very much not so intelligent people, who can then use AI to help them do their jobs. So AI is just used as a tool to replace you. That's one usage for it. The other one is that it is also used to spread false information, or more like the establishment narrative. That's another very important aspect of AI and what it's used for. So I would say, ideally, do not use AI for your research. If you're researching anything that's got to do with, let's just call it controversial information. But AI can still have some uses, even if in the state it is today. Now, there are AIs that don't even pretend to be objective, like Grok, for example, on X or Twitter or whatever the name is, where if you want to ask it about anything about World War II and some details about some events that happened and stuff like that, you will just get hit with. It won't give you any. Let's just say it won't give you any kinds of revisionist sources. None. So yeah. There are AIs that don't even pretend to be objective. There was this like Gap AI, but it was also unfortunately lobotomized as of late. So we will remember our fallen brother. You can't. What I'm saying is, what I'm trying to say is, you can't rely on AI at all. What it's good at is that you can simulate an argument with a peak normie. AI is. Let's just view AI as it is, and that's that AI is the peak normie, like debater. That's it. If you want to be able to debate better with people, you can train yourself on AI, because the AI has all the approved information at its fingertips, let's say, and just simulates a very, very, let's say, educated normie, you know, system educated normie. Now you can, the AI will never admit defeat, so you know, by trying it to have it admit defeat, it's pointless. When I had sort of debates with AI, every time it ended up in AI being this sort of you know, sometimes it's outright told me that it will not continue in this kind of conversation, and I'm not, you know, I'm not talking about me writing anything hateful. I'm just trying to, you know, present some facts that are contrary to what the AI spews. And yeah, I was told that when I, for example, when I asked it about the immigrant crime in Europe, there was a disagreement, and I argued that you know, based on all available data, it's not because of poverty, or or rather that they will bring poverty with them wherever they go, because even if they are on benefits and whatnot, they will still commit violent crimes. Then the AI argued, well, it's because everybody else is not tolerant enough, you know. So I mean, you know, what can you say? I was presenting facts, and then the AI just spat out that, you know, well, it's because we are not too tolerant. So you know, what can you say? So then I argued, no, it's not about tolerance. Like there was a push for tolerance, unlike any time in history anywhere else in Europe, in terms of immigration. Nowhere else in history was a larger push or larger action that tried to make people tolerant towards migrants. Nowhere else. It's nowhere else in documented history. And so just saying that it's because we are not tolerant is just bullshit. And if that would be the case, you know, which unfortunately now I would maybe agree that we are not as tolerant anymore, and it's high time we started doing that. But in the past, people of Europe were the most tolerant people on earth, and I'm not saying that as some sort of a virtue. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that as a fact, it's a bad thing. Really, it's a really bad thing, because that's how civilizations get destroyed. But European people were the most, like in the past 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, European people were the most tolerant people on earth. So, and the migrants were still committing unprecedented amount of crimes, where there were initiatives for native people of Europe to be tolerant towards them. They were getting welfare. They were the highest welfare recipients per capita, and they still committed violent crime. They still committed, you know, I can't say this word, I think, on YouTube, but grapes, you know, disproportionately, sorry, and yeah, it's just the AI just, you know, flat out told me all that, but because we weren't tolerant enough. So, yeah. So then I argued that no, you know, that the push for tolerance was blah 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 blah. You know, what I just mentioned, and then it just straight up told me that, well, no, I'm not gonna engage in this conversation anymore. So that's one thing the AI it can sort of stop talking to. The other stuff is when it just gets into this sort of a loop where it will say, well, yes, that's because of this. Then you argue, well, but this is because of that, and then it will just like circle back to what it said previously. Like A is because of B, and B is because of A, and this sort of like unending loop, like A because B, B because A because B, B because A, and then you just argue, well, no, A is because of this and B is because of this, and they both have the same source. They're not like caused directly by each other, but the AI just wouldn't care. It would just go in a loop, and that's how that's a conversational dead end. So that's another stuff that the AI does, that to really stop having conversation with you. So when you get AI into this sort of state, you know that you have really dug into something that's really the truth, and that the AI has just no rebuttal for it. So don't expect it to admit that it was wrong. So yeah, you can train yourself on AI. You can train yourself. You can train your arguments, because AI represents the ultimate normie, and so no other normie will be able to. When you can win against AI, which is quite easy, let me tell you, it's quite easy, because every time someone argues on the basis of lie, like they are lying, they are misinterpreting, they are pushing false narratives, it's really easy to argue with them. Because once you start really digging into the basis of the argument, right? Once you start presenting the truth, you will need to be policed, whether it's by law or the AI will just shut down. The AI will just shut it down. So that's how you know that you're in the right. If your speech needs to be policed and restricted by the system, that's how you know you're right. I'm not saying incitement to violence. I'm saying speech, just pure speech. When that needs to be policed, then you know you have really struck a nerve with the whole system. So if you want to use AI in a way that you will train your arguments on it, then that's great. But that's about the only thing that you can use it for. It's not your friend. It collects data about you. It's used to push false narratives. It's used to push pro-system, pro-establishment propaganda, and it's used to replace you in the workforce. So no, AI should not be used. I was using it at the beginning, but then when I really realized what it's about, I stopped. So yeah, that's about it. I don't think I have anything else to add. I will hopefully make a video, because I want to talk about economics more, because that's my hobby. I never went to school because I find I actually was able to confirm that going to school to learn about economics is absolutely useless these days. Yeah, but I would like to talk about economics more, and there it will be pretty clear that no matter the politician, no one actually is interested in dealing with the problems that we have these days. So yeah, economy can tell you a lot about nation, about people, about politicians, about system. Economy can tell you a lot. So yeah, that's something I would like to talk about more. But aside from that, that's all for this one, and hopefully I'll see you again, whoever watches this soon.